Hey guys, it's Joe. I just want to do a quick little video here. I don't have anything but my iPad, so this is going to be kind of sloppy, but and it's about growing old. So let me take you through the course of life here. This is you as a baby. You, me, anybody. You're born and you can't do really anything. You can cry and you can go wiggle around, and that's about it. You can't walk, you can't crawl, you can't play parcheesi, you can't anything, right? And you start trying things. You start pushing your boundaries. You start kind of trying to figure out how to grab that toy that your mom puts in front of you, and sooner or later you get a hold of it. Slowly but surely you can grab things. Well, now your world has expanded a little bit, because you can not only grab that toy, but you can grab a whole bunch of things. So this area inside this poorly drawn circle is your world. And then you learn to crawl. You're pushing against this boundary of what you're able to do. And then you learn to crawl. Well, now a whole bunch of things open up to you. Now you can go all over the house. You can get into all kinds of trouble. You can make your parents get all excited and panic. All kinds of things like that. Okay? And so on and so forth. You keep pushing this outer boundary, and it keeps going out farther and farther. And every time you develop a new ability or learn a new skill or whatever, your whole world gets bigger. Like, for example, you learn how to use tools, let's say, okay? That opens up a whole bunch of possibilities far beyond IKEA, you know, that repairing things, cars, whatever. Everything you do, it expands. You know, you expand just a little bit here, and your whole world gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. It goes out because you're pushing against the boundary of what you're able to do. Now, when you're young and, you know, full of vigor, you can push pretty hard, and sometimes you push way out here, and it's a little dangerous. And some of us don't make it, but most of us do. So each time you push out, your world expands. It's adaptive behavior. When you stop pushing, when you get too conservative, too wallflowery, ooh, I'm not going to do that, or whatever, then you're pushing at this boundary. Do you see what I mean? Now, you can push at this boundary. You can, I'm going to go base jumping here. Yeah, this is danger out here because it's far beyond your abilities. Okay, now with proper training, maybe you can get out there where that's not too dangerous, but you see what I'm saying? Now, the problem is a lot of us, and we're kind of, I think, programmed to think this way. When we start getting old, we start getting too careful. Oh, I don't know, I can't really do that. Oh, that hurts a little bit. Oh, yeah, my feet are sore. Oh, don't want to hurt my back. Oh, I could slip and fall and break my hip. You start pushing at this boundary, and your world starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Because when you can no longer get down and crawl around under your car, or when you can no longer just getting up and down, well, that starts limiting all the fun you can have. That starts cutting into hiking, fishing, swimming, working on your car, playing with your kids or grandkids. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, of course, you don't want to be pushing out too much where it's dangerous against your abilities. But you start shrinking your world here. Like, let me give you a specific example. You start worrying, oh, I'm going to break my bones. I'm getting old, and old people's bones get frail. Well, no, that's not really true. It's people who don't stress their bones get frail because their bones aren't being used. And the ability of their bones shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks until they slip one day and fall and break their hip or something, and then they're screwed. Now, to some degree, age does absolutely rob us of some of these abilities, but most of it is lack of use. It is not just strictly speaking age. I met a guy one time who was 94 years old, and he could whoop probably any of us. This guy was out ditch tending, which is basically shoveling mud, which is heavy, hard work. And at the same time he was doing that, he was directing, I think it was 5 or 6 other guys who were hauling aluminum pipe on horseback, which was pretty interesting. And he's basically running a vineyard this way. And he's doing all this work. And then as he went walking past his truck, just using a couple fingers, he flipped his shovel. It went flying in the air, flipped around, and landed thunk right in a tube in the back of his truck that was designed to hold his shovel. Amazing. I could sit there for weeks practicing that and probably never be able to do it. And he was happy and bouncy and full of energy. And he was 94 freaking years old. And in talking to him, he attributed part of it. He thought the water on his ranch was special. I don't know. But I just said, to be able to do those things at your age. And he says, well, I learned them when I was young, and I just never stopped doing them. And that's the key. When you stop doing these things, you start getting weaker and softer. And then it doesn't become less likely that you're going to injure yourself. It becomes more likely. Your bone density drops because your bones aren't loaded. You pull your back because your back isn't getting good quality regular exercise. You strain and tear things because those things haven't been maintained at strength. Now, I understand, a lot of people just, they just want to chill. It's like, no, I've been there, done that. I just want to chill. Okay? But understand that you're giving something up for that. You're giving up a lot of life that you probably have left. Your arteries start hardening because you don't get your heart pounding. Do you see what I'm saying? So sometimes, not being stupid is wise. But sometimes being too cautious is not wise. So you don't have to spend your life working out in the gym and down in protein shakes and whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, you can if you're into that sort of thing. But you got to push yourself beyond sitting on the sofa and scrolling through YouTube and stuff like that. Otherwise, you are going to become weak before your time. And you're going to become frail before your time. And then you're going to slip and you're going to break your hip. And then what's going to happen when you break your hip? The doctor will do surgery on you and he'll put your hip together. And then he's going to send you where? To physical therapy. Where the physical therapist is going to do what? He's going to have you start doing exercises and stretches and loading your bones to strengthen your bones and increase their density so you don't fall and break your freaking hip again. In other words, he's going to start having you try and do what you should have been doing all along so that you wouldn't have broken your hip in the first place. You see what I'm saying there? So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth on how to grow old. You got to keep pushing this boundary because it's trying to shrink on you. And don't push it too hard, unless you're a daredevil type and want to go out. I mean, there's a certain truth to the fact that the older you get, the less you're gambling, the less you have to lose. But, I am not encouraging anybody to be stupid. But I am encouraging people, don't try and be comfortable all the time. Because comfort is pushing in at this boundary. And you're going to get fat and lazy and weak, and then you're going to hurt yourself and get sick, and it ain't going to be good. But in the end, we all die. So that's my 2 cents worth. I hope you understood all that. It's a lot harder to get your bone strength and your muscle strength and all those things back after you've injured yourself than it is to keep them strong from the beginning. And you don't have to go through all that misery of surgery and all that stuff. Anyway, my 2 cents worth. Everybody to each their own. Live your life your way. Enjoy.